Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name's Claire and this is Yoli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learned over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And as always, I've got a lot going on with my plants at the moment, so today I thought I'd just give you some updates, the good, the bad, and let you know what I'm doing about it. So yes, I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So the first update that I want to give you is on my Pteris lineata, which is the fern that I got, I think about a month ago now, and it only lasted for about a week. I was so sad. I was just like, I don't know what to do with this plant. I can never get it right. And a lot of you said to just chop back all the dead fronds, keep it in a really humid environment, and it would grow back. And I've thrown ferns away before when I've just thought they're completely dead. So I thought I would give this a go. And this is what it's currently looking like. It's currently just in its pot, soil's moist, and I've just put a little hummus container over it to just seal in the moisture. And as you can see, it is starting to give me some lovely new growth, which I'm really, really excited about. And I'm so glad that I didn't just give up on this plant. And that is definitely lesson learnt because, as I say, in the past, I have just assumed that the plant's pretty much a goner. The only thing that is a little bit strange with this plant, and this is a pest that I've actually never dealt with indoor plants before, it's got slugs, which is very bizarre. I think there must have been eggs in the soil or something. I didn't see any sign of damage before, but as you can see, bits of its leaf have just kind of been nibbled away. And in fact, I've removed so many of them already. But if you look at the back of this leaf, just there, that tiny little black dot is actually a tiny little slug. And I know that that probably means I need to change out its soil pretty quickly, but I've just been slightly reluctant to do it so far because obviously the plant is literally just starting to regrow. Its root system is probably quite fragile and I don't want to throw it into shock. But as I say, it is something that I am going to have to do because otherwise there is going to be no plant left because it's just going to have been eaten. So yeah, have any of you ever experienced that with an indoor plant? It's kind of baffling me just because when I first got the plant, it looked really, really healthy. There was no sign of damage at all on its leaves, and I haven't changed anything in the soil in the time that I've had it. So as I say, I'm guessing it was just eggs, but for the time being I'm just keeping it contained in here so it's not likely to affect any of my other plants, and I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that when I do the soil change, the plant is going to be strong enough and resilient enough to be able to hack it and hopefully continue doing good things for me. But yeah, I'll keep you updated with it. If I could get this plant back, I would honestly be over the moon. I was so sad when it died, and I don't want to think that I'm jinxed with this type of plant because I've never had luck with it in the past. It is a challenge, and it is an ongoing challenge with very unexpected things thrown in, but that's where it's at the moment. Okay, so the next one is a very exciting update. The next one is an update on my Monstera dubia, and I'll bring her over. So as you can see, she is now officially taller than me. She's absolutely huge, and her most recent leaf is definitely the most mature one yet. It's just absolutely stunning, and it's just making me really, really excited about the potential of this plant because I absolutely love if I can lift her up, I will. That's the limit. But I love the shingliness of her at the bottom. And I know that as the plant does mature, it has a very different form. Like it almost looks like a completely different plant. And the thing that I love about how it's growing at the moment is that you can literally see the journey from the small growth at the bottom to what it's become now. And that makes me not want to chop it. But the only thing with that is, I mean, there's a few things actually. Firstly, I want to be able to bring out the plant's full potential. I know what it's capable of, and I would just feel so proud if I was able to achieve those gorgeous kind of mature fenestrated leaves. But also I do know that if I want it to continue to produce growth like this, I'm going to have to chop it because it needs high light, and I'm not going to be able to keep it by my window for much longer because it's not going to fit. So if you watched my extending moss poles video that I did with Emma, you'll have seen that we put this section of moss pole onto the back of the plank. So what should hopefully start to happen now is this plant will start, as it grows, to root into that. And when the time comes that it has got a nice established root system in the moss at the back, then I will just be able to chop it. Oh, I will just be able to chop it, plant it back up, and I will essentially not have to root the plant separately, if that makes sense. I'll be able to just Sydney plant guy calls it the chop and extend method, and oh my goodness, if you haven't seen his Monstera dubia, it is just out of this world. And I know that mine has the potential to reach that stage as well. So that is what I'm thinking. I really, as I say, I would really love to just be able to let the plant grow. I think it would be beautiful, and that is a big part of me that is very, very reluctant to chop it. But I am just thinking about what is best for the plant at the end of the day, and I want to focus on health as opposed to growth. And I want to try and get it to reach its full potential, essentially. So yeah, that's probably a chop I'm going to be making in the next month or so. I would say probably my fastest growing plant in my collection, maybe apart from like pothos. I would say it's probably my fastest growing plant. If you look at this little gap here, where up until that point the growth had been quite kind of structured and even. If you look at that little gap there, that's the point at which I moved house, and obviously that is just kind of a signal of environmental changes. And it's given me 5 leaves in the last 2 months, and this is during winter as well. So obviously as the days start to get lighter and the light becomes more intense, its growth is just going to speed up. And so yep, it's something that's going to have to happen fairly soon. So I will definitely take you along for the ride with that. I'll definitely bring you with me for the dubia's journey and see how she does. But I'm loving her at the moment. I'm so proud of her, and yeah, she's bringing me a lot of joy. So this next one might not seem like a particularly interesting update, but I am genuinely so excited by this. This is my Anthurium regale, not that you would be able to tell at the moment. This is a wish list plant that I got. I mean, I'd wanted it for such a long time, and I finally got it at the Rare Plant Festival in Leeds. I think that was about 6 months ago or so, and it had the most beautiful big leaf when I first got it, but very sadly that leaf died off literally within a couple of days of me owning it. I checked its roots. They were okay, but they were a little bit sludgy, so I gave it a huge root prune. I obviously had to chop that leaf back. And then I propped it in moss, and it's kind of been looking like this ever since. It looked like it was going to give me a new growth point for a while, and that was, I think, about 4 months ago or more, and just nothing's happened. Literally nothing's happened. It has just looked as is for a very long time. So I decided to change it up into soil about 2 weeks ago, just because I was like, it can't hurt, it'll give the plant a little bit of additional nutrients. And firstly, the thing I've noticed since I put it in soil is its root system has just started to go crazy. It seemed a little bit stunted before, and I can see that it's really kind of branching out and doing very good things. But also, I thought I noticed this growth point bulging a few days ago, and I thought I'll just take a peek. And I know I always say you shouldn't do this. I did it very, very carefully. I just kind of peeled, I guess you would call this the caterpillar of the plants, but I just peeled it back ever so slightly to take a look. And as you can see, there is a new leaf starting to form inside, which I am overjoyed about, because I really didn't know if this plant was going to make it. And I'm so reluctant to get another one when I know that I've got one that has a lot of potential and it could do something for me. But you know, when a plant's just seemed dormant for such a long time, it kind of just makes you go, oh, is it worth carrying on, but is it worth getting one that's maybe doing a little bit better so that you can feel like you've actually got it in your collection? And I'm very glad that I've held out for this plant. I mean, who knows, it might just stop here and it might not give me any growth for another 6 months, but I think this is looking very hopeful. So yeah, I'm kind of checking on it daily at the moment, and I'm really hoping that maybe in the next few weeks this leaf will start to pop. So yeah, this one's just been a massive long waiting game, but I know that it will be worth it, because I currently don't feel like I own an Anthurium regale because I can't appreciate its foliage. So when it starts doing something for me, I'm gonna be very happy. So yeah, I thought I'd just give you that little update because that's making me very excited. And oh, okay, another very exciting one. My Philodendron Splendid that I got at the plant swap, I think again about 8 months ago now. I got it as a tiny cutting, and it's doing absolutely amazingly. And the newest leaf it's given me, I don't know if you can kind of gauge on camera how big that is, but it's absolutely out of this world insane. And at the moment, because it hasn't properly hardened off yet, you can just kind of see the vericosomeness of it coming through, because it's a melanochrysum cross vericosum. And I just think that veination it doesn't even look real. It's just absolutely stunning. This is another one that I want to chop up again quite soon. I've been saying that for a while, but I wanted to make sure it had a really good root system before I did it. And a few months ago, I put this plastic around the back of the moss pole just to try and contain some of the humidity a little bit better. Humidity? Moisture. You know what I mean. But if you have a look now, you can see all of these roots that have properly rooted in there. And again, like, I could just let it grow as is, but it's getting so big. And what I would love is to achieve just kind of a plant with just really mature growth without it having to work its way up, because I did lose a few leaves at the bottom of this plant, and as you can tell, it's looking a little bit sparse. So I'd like this here to be kind of the starting point, and then hopefully it can go on to achieve some even more amazing mature growth. So that's another chop that will really scare me. I am very nervous to do it, but I also am quite excited to do it, because I'm so excited to see what the plant's going to do for me then. But I did actually have a big drama with this plant the other day. I had it potted in quite a tall pot, and it's now quite a top heavy plant. And I opened my doors and Yoli jumped through and she knocked it and it fell, and I was very lucky not to have more damage. I've got a little bit of rip on that leaf there, but I mean, it could have been a lot worse. So yeah, fairly resilient, I would say, or maybe I've just been very lucky. But yeah, I'll keep you updated with it. And again, I'll let you know when I do the chop, because I think it is going to be quite soon. And this next update's on my Anthurium SP Limon, which is a plant that I adore. Like, I genuinely love this plant so much, but I don't quite feel like I get it yet. Like, as you can see, it's giving me some beautiful growth, and that leaf there is just, I mean, it's just stunning. It's just amazing. But it will give me beautiful growth, and then the growth beneath it will just slowly start to die off. And as you can see, it's happening there. It's actually starting to happen to that leaf there as well. And it's got a big kind of, similar actually to the Philodendron splendid that I just showed you, it's got a big section down here that has lost probably about 4 or 5 leaves in the time that I've had it, and I don't quite know what I'm doing wrong. The plant will seem really healthy, I keep its moss pole hydrated, it's in my cabinet and it's getting all round good light. I'm just not quite sure what's happening with it. And I've had this plant, again, this is another one that I got at the Rare Plant Festival. I've had it for a little while now, and it often, not stresses me out, but it often kind of gets to me a bit when I feel like I've had a plant long enough to be able to gauge what it likes and doesn't like. So if anybody has any theories about what could be going on here, I'd be very, very grateful. I know this plant is still considered to be quite rare, and there aren't a lot of them about, so I've tried doing a load of research on this plant, and there's not a lot of sources, to be honest, so I'm just trying to figure it out as I go. And it's got, again, some amazing aerial roots, and it is rooted really well into its pole, so I could chop and propagate it, but I kind of don't want to do the chop and prop until I feel like I know its conditions well enough to be able to really offer each section of propagation a fighting chance. And yeah, the other thing with this plant, and I've said this before, but its mature growth is so incredibly bizarre. It kind of splits into like almost like 3 leaves in one. I'll put a picture on the screen. And like, I like that, but I also am just so in love with these leaves like that. If they were to just continue to get bigger and bigger, I know I can't change nature, but I think that would personally be my preference. But yeah, I don't even know at what stage that might start to happen. I just don't know enough about this plant. So if any of you have it or have any information about it that you would be willing to share, then please do comment it down below. But I adore it. I think the colour of its leaves are so bluey, silvery, so dragony. Like, they literally just look like beautiful dragon scales. It's the most amazing plant, and I just feel like I'm not offering it everything that it needs at the moment. So yeah, I thought I'd include that as an update just to show you that although it's doing well, sometimes things can be doing well and not so well at the same time. I'm getting to the bottom of the issues, slowly and surely, trial and error, but yeah, that is what it's currently looking like. And also, its newest leaf there is coming in very different to how the other ones have so far, and I'm kind of thinking, is that the start of the leaf change? Is that the start of it starting to kind of shape shift a bit? I'll let you know, but that's where we're currently at with that one. And then back to the mystery of the silver blush. I've spoken about this before. So I've got two Anthurium silver blushes and they both look totally different. And I'm still trying to establish what is actually a silver blush, what could be another potential hybrid. This is the one that I'm pretty sure is a true silver blush. And it's got that gorgeous veination. It's very silvery. It's very beautiful. But the main update that I wanted to give you is on this one that so far has given me lots of very thin silvery leaves, which are obviously so different to that one. And the most recent leaf it's given me is a little bit rounded, but it's almost completely silver. So I'm really excited about it. I love how it's growing and I love the silveriness of it, but I'd really like to actually get to the bottom of what it is because, again, there doesn't seem to be any information online about this. And I've had so many theories from people saying, oh, it's a Doriaki hybrid, it's a this, it's a that. And I'm really baffled. And I know I don't technically need to know, but when it starts changing shape and doing weird things and looking so different to another one that's supposedly the same plant, it just makes me go, okay, you know what? I want to find out more about this. And Anthurium hybridization, cross-pollination is something that I'm really interested in. I'm trying to get more into kind of learning about that at the moment. But this is one that has just absolutely stumped me because a lot of the time you can read articles, you can watch other people's videos and you can kind of go, okay, that kind of aligns with what might be going on with my plants. And with this one, I just don't know. I think it's growing beautifully. It's in my cabinet. It seems very happy in my cabinet. It has also got another new little leaf coming up there. But yes, it's a mystery. If you put them next to each other, they are so different. That one's definitely a lot more heart-shaped as well with that leaf. Yeah, so yeah, please let me know what you think. And this is another slightly weird update. So my Monstera adansonii Indonesian marble has been very unpredictable with its growth. It gave me this leaf, I think again, when I was first moving house, and to me that almost form-wise looks quite similar to the Esqueleto, and I was like, oh, how exciting. If it keeps doing that, then it's going to be amazing. The growth is going to be insane. And since that point, the leaves that it's given me have just been very kind of misshapen and like, how weird is that? It doesn't bother me. I find it really intriguing, but just incredibly unpredictable. And that is its most recent leaf. Like, you would never look at that and think adansonii, would you? It's obviously got those splits, but if I was to just see that leaf alone, I think I would probably think maybe some kind of epipremnum, like almost, I don't know, it's almost got like weird fenestrated skeleton key vibes to it. So yeah, it's one that I'm really enjoying watching it grow, but it's just a very difficult one to predict because I've seen other types of variegated adansonii that are just a lot more, I don't know, a lot more predictable. Just, yeah, predictable. And to be honest, all of the leaves down here kind of were. So I don't know if maybe this is just a shift in environment thing. Maybe they will go back to being a little bit more predictable, but yeah, again, I know I'm asking you guys for all of your theories, but if anyone has any theories on any of this, please let me know. Because whenever my plants start doing things that I'm a little unsure about, I'm not saying this plant's not healthy, I think it is healthy, but whenever they start doing things that kind of make me go, oh, that's interesting, I just want to learn about them and I kind of want to find out why. So if anyone knows, then please do let me know. And then finally, it wouldn't be an updates video if I didn't give you an update on my Hoya Sarawak, which is just doing amazing things for me at the moment and is making me very, very happy. I say Hoya Sarawak, a lot of you have said that it's actually a latifolia from Sarawak, so I'm guessing maybe a Hoya latifolia, but I always call it a Sarawak. That's what I got the plant as. But she is just blowing my mind with her new leaf that I thought was going to be significantly smaller compared to the others because this was a mid cutting, it wasn't a top cutting, and often that means that the new growth does come in, at least for the time being, like at first it does come in a lot smaller, and this one is still hardening off and sizing up, and I think she's going to be absolutely huge. And I'm just so intrigued by this one's growth pattern because, as you know, like when I first got this plant, the 3 leaves here were just kind of very, very formal, very predictable. And then she's just gone, whoa. And also out to the side here, this is the point that where I actually chopped off one of her peduncles a while ago. She was flowering and it was beautiful, but I wanted to try and conserve some of the plant's energy and get it pumped into foliage as opposed to flowers. So I chopped it back, and just underneath the point she was flowering from, which I might need to put a clip in of because it probably won't show very well like this. But she has also got what I think is the start of another teeny tiny leaf. Like, they do come in so small and then they size up. So yeah, I don't know. I have no idea how I'm going to grow this plant. I know at some point if she starts to tendril, she'll probably need a trellis. But I'm just not sure how I'm going to go about it. So yeah, she's a mystery plant at the moment, but she's one that is just kind of a constant favourite in my collection. She's a very like showstopper plant. She's one that just makes me go like, wow, I can't believe that that's actually real. And she's definitely, I would say, my favourite Hoya. Is she my favourite Hoya? Yeah, I would say she's probably my favourite Hoya. But yeah, very excited about that. I feel like I've got quite a lot of exciting stuff going on in my collection at the moment, but there's always good and bad, isn't there? None of my plants are ever all good, and I've got pests really quite badly at the moment. I'm dealing with them, and I've got a predatory mites video coming soon because I'm releasing thousands of them, and I think that's probably going to be the best way to tackle it. But yeah, those are the ones that sprung to mind when I was like, okay, what's going on? What are the ones that I think about when I think plant updates? And yeah, that's them for the time being. But yes, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.